You've seen the movie Tora, 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 and the B-17s are coming into land at Wheeler Field during the attack. Where were the B-17s going?
Philippines.
To the Philippines. What were they going to do? Bomb Japan. Why were the carriers not there? Because they were delivering fighter planes to Wake and Midway to provide air cover for the B-17s while they gassed up. We had 2.8 million gallons of aviation fuel in China. I mean, that's a pretty good suggestion that we have some ambitions. Every B-17 we could get was being rushed to the Philippines. We had 35 B-17s to the Philippines on December 8, 1941. We should have had well over 50 if they hadn't fallen behind the delivery schedule, the flying schedule. By the spring of 1942, we were going to have 180 B-17s in the Philippines, plus B-24s, plus B-18s, plus P-40s, plus P-39s, and several radar sites. The bombing was supposed to begin November 1 in 1941. Hence, Chennault meant to preempt Japanese aggression in Southeast Asia. The Philippines was going to be it. It was going to be this giant aircraft carrier for bombing raids on Japan. Make no mistake, that was the ambition of the American government, and the Japanese knew it. We imposed a total, and I mean an absolute total, trade embargo on Japan. No fuel, no scrap iron, no steel, no nothing. A Japanese ship couldn't even sail through the Panama Canal Zone. They had about 18 months of gas left for everything. They were running out of gas, running out of time. What we're trying to do is we were trying to reduce them either economically and politically or militarily to stop this nonsense, to withdraw from China, to behave yourself, to withdraw from the Axis powers and conduct proper activities. And the Japanese, being the headstrong, proud people that they are, wouldn't do that. As 41 moved along, it was pretty clear there was going to be a conflict. There was going to be a showdown between Japan and America. And grudgingly, the American people became receptive to the idea of taking some kind of action against Japan. The premise of the book is preemptive strike, that we had the capability that we failed to exercise to preempt Japanese initiatives in Southeast Asia and the Pacific. A buddy of mine named Tom Pandolfi in Connecticut came upon what you'll see in my book is called the Pensacola Papers. Now, it's not that they're classified, it's not that they're secret. No one knew they existed until 1997. And he got me a copy of these Pensacola Papers, and they're talking about bombing and bombers. This is the origins of the American Volunteer Group. I mean, these papers were found in a desk drawer at Pensacola Naval Air Station by a seaman, a sailor, and he thought, what is going on here? It had Knox and Stimson and all these high-ranking officials' names on the documents, and these were the papers that talked about the formation of the Flying Tigers. And when I saw bombers, I thought, well, this is more than about fighter planes. So I called the Roosevelt Library in Hyde Park, New York, and spoke with Mr. Robert Parks, the historian, and I said, get me everything you've got on bombers. And he went to Morgenthau's diary. He went through the Secretary of State's file. He went to the International Dispatches. He went to Chennault. Roosevelt had a file on Chennault, on Pauley. Pauley was the salesman for Curtiss Wright in China. He dug up all this stuff, and I began to read these documents, and it begins to synthesize, and you can see what the plan was. Then we went to the National Archives, we went to the Hoover Institute, we went to Douglas T. MacArthur Foundation, the George C. Marshall Foundation, and that's how I found this plan. That's what got me started. So don't tell me I can't do something. Chennault is, at this point in his life, apparently on the top of his game, at the top of his form. Everything is going his way. It's not going his way. He had written a thesis, The Role of Defensive Pursuit. The belief in the Air Corps in the 1930s is that bombers, not fighters, will determine the outcome of future conflicts. And so fighter planes are relegated to a secondary role in the Air Corps. Not a lot of money spent on fighter planes. And so Chennault has the temerity to write a treatise saying, you're wrong. You're wrong. If you give me enough fighter planes, I can deny the airspace over cities to bombers. If you give me a telephone warning net that tells me the bombers are coming in, I'll be waiting for them and I'll take them out before they make it to the target. This did not endear him to the Air Corps leadership. He was carrying on the battle, the struggle for the preservation of the fighter plane and fighter tactics. They were seriously considering eliminating that from the curriculum at the school, if you can believe that, in 1935. So Chennault is fighting with his superiors, and he finally has a nervous breakdown. We have a real struggle in our country. I mean, this is a democracy, and there's a belief that there's to be the free flow of information the American people are entitled to, and they are entitled to everything, but not everything. And there are circumstances when it's not a good idea. If war is looming on the horizon, you can't show all your cards. I mean, I'm a trial lawyer, and we have in civil cases what's called discovery. Anything I can keep from my adversary, I will. If I can have any element of surprise, any advantage, I'm going to keep it. And the same thing goes in war. You can't tell your adversary what you're going to do. People think what's going on today is new. It's going on 50, 60 years ago. It's not new. We keep making the same mistakes over and over again. The last chapter of the book gets into a discussion about, the current situation militarily and the use of preemptive military power, because I feel like if you're going to write a book, you need to make it relevant to current events. Thank you for having me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.